being able to do balances with yourself, being able to take this so-called mind technology with you everywhere you go and not have to depend on anything external to you, any kind of mechanics or technological devices or any of that, is a very important part of PSYCH-K and PERC. It's the same technology, just different name for different applications. So when you're in a bind and you're alone and you realize a balance is in order to change your perception about a given situation or circumstance, let's say before you go in for an interview or you're going to be in some stressful situation, it'd be real beneficial to change your perception about that situation before you enter it. It'd be a really good idea to be able to do a balance. You can do that in a matter of minutes with yourself and with the information you carry around in your head from the classes that you've taken. On the other hand, if you have someone around that you care about, they care about you, and they can facilitate the balance with you, there's a little more objectivity associated with that interaction than there is if you're doing all the work yourself. You're essentially doing self-muscle testing versus having somebody else do the muscle testing with you. And furthermore, because of quantum entanglement, because of the law of one, because we are all interconnected, having somebody there as your personal cheerleader, in other words, person that can hold the space for you, that wishes well for you, and is facilitating in that mode, is always good. I mean, it's so much better to share, say, the beauty of a sunset with another individual. I think that's why we are on this planet together rather than having our own individual planets. There's a reason. It's about relationship and about connection. So whenever I get a choice, I will choose to do balancing with somebody that I care about. It's really good if couples or in business situations, for instance, a whole group of people can take the training and then they can work with each other. And it's a beautiful thing to see because it breaks. You can take 10 minutes out of your day to be sure that your day is going to be the best day it can be, as opposed to simply having some event occur during the day that then sort of wrecks the rest of your day. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a beautiful tool to be able to use in that way. Yes, you can use it by yourself, and whenever possible, share it with others.
Noticing the language, balance is doing a balance to somebody or doing a balance with somebody. Why is it important that we keep the language attached to doing a balance with somebody?
It's about, again, about connection, and it's about a partnership. And I see balancing as a partnership between the facilitator of the balance and the person going through the balance process themselves. So when we talk about things, for instance, like doing balances on somebody, it brings to mind this notion that kind of a one-up, one-down relationship. Something's going to happen, but the person being balanced has really very little to do with the interaction. It's all about the facilitator. You know, in the medical model, you hear a lot of that kind of language. Well, I'm going to do this procedure on you. The doctor is going to insist you do this or insist you do that. It's as if we have no part in the healing process or in the activity as a partner. Whereas I think it's really, really important for us to understand that we may be going through a balance. We may be the one with the challenge we're trying to address, but we play a very big part in it. I would say, in general, one of the big differences between PSYCH-K's technology and approach and so on is that to have a successful PSYCH-K session depends probably at least 80% depends on the person going through the process, and maybe 20% is a function of how skilled the facilitator is. Whereas many other procedures and processes in many other disciplines, the reverse is true. A successful outcome is dependent upon the wisdom, the skill, and the mindset of the person doing it to you, so to speak, rather than doing it with you. So in PSYCH-K, do with is very, very important concept to hold the space for a partnership arrangement in change and not it's all up to somebody else.
How long would a balance last? If you were to do a balance with somebody, how long could the effects last? Is it temporary? Do you have to keep coming back and doing balances for the same thing once you live your life, or is it more of a permanent nature?
I would say it's more of a lasting, long-lasting nature. And I say that because it's more like changing a document in your computer. Once you make the change, you hit the save command and you send it back to the hard drive for storage. The next time you open that document, good chance is it's going to include the changes. It won't have just changed overnight for some reason. Now, the human condition, that's an analogy, not a homology. So the analogy breaks down in the sense that, for instance, let's say you make a change and something you really wanted to do, and now you're running a new program. But you find out, because you couldn't see this ahead of time, you find out that some basic need was actually getting met by the old way you used to do something. And so before you made the change. It's called secondary gain. So you realize you gained something from that old way of being that isn't included in this new way of being. Now, you have one of two choices. The choice that some people experience is that they default back to their old way of being because what they're missing is more important than the benefits of the change they just got. On the other hand, if you've taken some PSYCH-K or PERK classes and you recognize that this is a secondary gain, there's something missing in this new way of being, then you can simply go back into a balance process, include that gain as a part of this new way of being. So then you don't lose it. You don't have a contest between the old way and the new way. You simply take the old gain that you didn't see wasn't initially a part of the change and make it a part of the change. So then it goes away, then it's a long-lasting change. Yeah, I would say that the idea of collaboration is an idea whose time has come. Let's put it that way. That the individualized speakers who become popular and write a lot of books and do a lot of lectures and so on, they have a very important job to do. And that's to deliver new ideas, new visions of what's possible to people who haven't thought past what their current lives look like. The limitation of just delivering information and inspiration is that it often doesn't go past the person doing the talking. In other words, the motivational speakers leaves and the motivation leaves at the same time. It may last for a little while, but eventually you end up with back to life as usual. I really think it's important to take this next step, and I think that's what PSYCH-K and PERK represent, is taking the wisdom of the best thinkers, the master thinkers, and give people tools to internalize those very quickly at the subconscious level of their own minds so they can embody the wisdom and not just think about it and try and effort to try to be different in their lives. Take the effort out. Inform your subconscious mind, the habit mind, and make this wisdom a new habit, almost a self-fulfilling prophecy rather than a day-to-day struggle.